He pushed me into that dark shed and turned the key behind me. "Stay quiet, Lila," my uncle whispered, even though he knew silence wouldn't save me. 4 years, I lived as a shadow inside the walls of the people who should have protected me. My dear friends, it's good to be with you today. Before I go on, if you feel touched by what you're hearing, please leave your like and subscribe to the channel Stories of the Heart. It helps this old lady continue sharing pieces of her journey. Now tell me in the comments, from where are you watching me? And at what time of day? Morning coffee, after lunch, or at night before bed? I read every single message with love. Well, my name is Marjorie Ann Wallace, and I'm 78 blessed years old. I live now in the quiet town of Willow Creek, deep in rural Arkansas, in a little wooden house painted blue by my late husband. Out here, the roads are dusty, the neighbors are kind, and the days pass slow enough for the heart to breathe. Every morning, after feeding my hens, I sit on my front porch with my knitting basket. My granddaughter, Chloe, taught me how to knit when I was already past 70. Imagine that, an old woman learning something new from a child. My hands were stiff back then, full of tremors from years of work, but she had patience, and I had determination. Now these needles have become dear friends. My home is simple but warm. My rocking chair sits near the window where the sun enters with such softness that it feels like God's embrace. Sometimes the breeze carries the smell of honeysuckle from the vines my husband planted decades ago. I often find myself humming old hymns while I knit scarves I'll probably never finish. But today I didn't come to talk about my garden or my hens. Today, I came to tell you something I've carried for more than 7 decades. Something that shaped me, hurt me, and later made me stronger. Because, my loves, life wasn't always gentle. There was a time when I lived through a darkness I wouldn't wish on any child. I was born in Redwood Bend, a small farming community near the Arkansas River. My mama, Lorraine, was a woman of laughter. Oh, she had the kind of smile that warmed you even on cold mornings. She baked the best blackberry pies in all of Redwood Bend, everyone said so. My daddy, Thomas, worked with the horses and always smelled faintly of hay and leather. Life was simple and predictable. We lived in a small house with creaky floors and a tin roof that sang during the rain. I had 2 older brothers, Jed and Marshall, who adored climbing trees and pulling childish pranks that made Mama shout and laugh in the same breath. And then there was me, the youngest, the only girl, and the one who never seemed to let go of Mama's skirts. I spent my early childhood running barefoot across the fields, catching fireflies in jars, making mud cakes with my best friend, Rosie Finch. We built tiny pretend houses under the pecan tree, with sticks for walls and leaves for plates. Everything felt safe back then. Everything felt whole. But when I was 10 years old, Mama fell ill. A fever took her quickly, far too quickly for a woman whose laughter used to echo across the fields. Daddy, grief-stricken, stopped talking and started drinking. Jed was sent to work in a neighboring town. Marshall enlisted young, lying about his age. And I was sent to live with my mother's brother, Uncle Grant. I remember the day I arrived at his farm in Maple Hollow. The sky was gray, the trees stiff from the winter cold. Uncle Grant greeted me at the door with a stare that felt colder than the wind. His wife, Margaret, didn't say much either, just looked me up and down, as if measuring how useful I'd be. At first, it was just chores. Feeding goats, washing dishes, scrubbing floors, hauling water. I didn't complain. Children worked in those days, everyone knows that. But soon chores turned into burdens no child's shoulders should carry. And every mistake, even imagined ones, brought punishment. One evening, when I was only 11, Uncle Grant grabbed my arm so tightly it left a bruise shaped like his fingers. "You think you're special," he hissed. "You're here to work. Don't forget it." His breath reeked of whiskey. I trembled but stayed silent, because silence was all I had. Month after month, the cruelty grew. Some nights, when the house fell silent and the lanterns went out, I prayed my mama could somehow hear me. I prayed she would come take me home, even if it meant heaven. But God doesn't always come quickly. Sometimes he sends help through people placed quietly in our path. My help came in the form of Miss Aurelia, an older farmhand woman who cooked for Uncle Grant during harvest season. She had eyes like rain clouds, tired, full, and wise. She saw the bruises I tried to hide. She saw the fear I tried to swallow. And one night, while washing potatoes at the sink, she whispered, "Child, you ain't safe here." I felt my whole world stop. No adult had ever said those words aloud. She continued, "When the time's right, you run. There are people in town who can help you." I didn't answer her, but her words lit a tiny flame of hope in my chest. The moment came 2 months later. I had spilled a bucket of feed, and Uncle Grant flew into one of his rages. He locked me in the old shed, shouting that I'd stay there until I learned respect. The shed was dark, filled with rusted tools and the smell of oil. My heartbeat echoed louder than the wind outside. Hours passed. I don't know how long. I only know a small crack of moonlight came through the boards. Then, footsteps. The key turned. And it wasn't Uncle Grant. It was Miss Aurelia. "Come on," she whispered. "Now." She led me through the back field, guiding me with a lantern she kept covered with a cloth. We crossed through briar patches, waded through shallow streams, and didn't stop until we reached the road that led to Hollow Ridge, the nearest town. "There's a woman there named Miss Rowan," Aurelia said. "She helps girls like you. Girls like me." Even now, those words bring tears. She squeezed my shoulders. "You keep walking. Don't turn back. Don't stop." I obeyed. By dawn, with blistered feet and a trembling body, I reached Hollow Ridge. Miss Rowan was a midwife and healer. She took one look at me and knew everything without asking a single question. She gave me food, clean clothes, and something even more precious, safety. She contacted a church home for displaced children in Little Rock, and within weeks, I was living there. For the first time in years, I slept without fear. From that home, my life rebuilt itself piece by piece. I attended school again. I found friends. I found laughter I thought had died with Mama. In my teenage years, I met Henry Wallace, a kind young mechanic with warm eyes and a crooked smile. We married at 19. He adored me like something sacred, and with him I learned what real love feels like. We raised 2 children, Peter and June, both grown now with lives of their own. I worked as a librarian for 30 beautiful years, surrounded by stories that healed parts of me I didn't know were still aching. And the girl who once ran barefoot through pecan orchards, the girl who hid bruises under long sleeves, the girl who prayed in the dark, she's still inside me, but she no longer cries. She watches sunsets from this little porch, holding yarn and needles, and she knows she survived. My dears, if you've listened this far, I want you to remember something. Pain may write chapters in your life, but it does not get to write the ending. We are stronger than the nights that tried to break us. We are deeper than our wounds. And we are worthy of safety, of kindness, of peace. If my story touched you today, I ask you to subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell. Every subscription helps me keep sharing stories that might reach someone who needs light in a dark moment. Leave the word resilience in the comments so I know you stayed with me until the end. May God bless your heart, and may you always find the strength to begin again.